Good afternoon, Sabrina. As you know, I'm Rodney Walker. I'm a student at Regent University. I am going for my master's in human service with the emphasis on counseling, and I'm in my last semester, and I am not licensed. I'm not a licensed counselor, therapist, or anything in that nature, so I will not be, I guess, dive into stuff that's traumatic in your life or anything like that. So, again, I'm not licensed or anything, so this is purely for my knowledge and for me to better myself in this realm.
Okay.
Okay, so last time we talked, you were going through a bit of a dilemma and challenge. So, if you can, I guess, share what's going on with you now.
Well, yeah, right now I'm taking, like I mentioned last time, three classes, sociology, Spanish, and English.
Hmm.
And I mentioned last time that my English class was, kind of one class that I was struggling with.
Right.
But right now, I'm kind of, running down into my last weeks of school. So it's just been kind of stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been, this week in particular, I've been having, I have one paper that's due the end of this week, and I have just started to begin on it, and I have to write a 1,000 word essay, and it's my final essay. So,
Wow.
and then on top of that, I had to retake my sociology test that I did not score well on the first time. So I
Mm.
had to retake it, which I scored better on it, which kind of relieved some stress. But another stressor is kind of me waiting on two of my English papers that have to be graded.
So,
So, yeah.
So, just going back to clarify a little bit, you said that you have a paper that's due this week, and you're
Yes.
kind of getting ready to get started on it. What class is that actually for?
Yeah, that paper is for English, the one
Okay.
I was struggling
Okay,
with.
so you have a paper for English that's due this week, and you had a sociology test that you have recently taken, and you didn't get, I guess, the best score that you wanted, so
Right.
you retook it.
hmm
So, how did you feel when you saw your score that you, I guess, wasn't thrilled about?
I mean, I scored a high C, like borderline B, but I mean, I'm used to getting like A's and high B's. So it was just kind of like, oh man, I gotta, you know, try to do something better. So I mean, I just decided to retake that. Um,
Right.
I wanted to make sure that I scored higher on that because in that class I completed a paper, which was the only paper that I had to do for that class, but it was like a midterm paper, and she still has not graded that. So, although I have like um, a B in her, well, an A in her class right now, if I don't get a good grade on that paper, that could bring my grade down. And if I
Yeah, I bet.
would have kept that C on my first quiz, that would have, not been good. So
Right.
I wanted to make sure I scored higher the second time so I can, kind of balance myself out if, I don't know what
Right,
score
I
I'm going to get
understand.
on the paper. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm waiting on that grade.
Okay, so you're waiting on that.
Yeah.
And what else is going on with the rest of your, I guess, classes or schedule that's making it, I guess, kind of stressful for you?
Well, this week I have to do like 4 hours worth of homework in Spanish. Um, and then I also have to take a test in Spanish, but I have to do that on top of writing this paper that's due. And they're all due on the same day.
Oh man,
So I have to make sure I have to just juggle and kind of, you know, juggle out my daily duties, work,
right.
kids, all that on top of, trying to figure out what I need to do at school.
So a lot of things you're working on this week is coming up due this week.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, so with, I guess, having these different stresses that's going on, how do you feel about all of this stuff hitting you at one time?
I'm a little stressed out. I really am. I'm a little stressed out because this is my last essay for English, and that's the class that I'm really struggling in. And then on top of that, I'm stressing out, waiting for the grades that for my other 2 essays. I only have to complete 5 essays for this class. Right. He only graded 2. So I'm on my last essay that I have to complete, and he has not graded 2. So the 2 essays that he has graded, I've gotten, like, the first one was a low C, second one was a high C. So if, these 2 assignments, even my last, essay, can be determining factors if I pass or fail this class, which is very important for me to pass. So I'm just kind of stressed out because I'm trying to, focus on, getting this stuff done on top of managing my daily duties, mom, with 2 kids, going to work, cleaning the house, making sure everything's done, and it's just, I gotta get everything done.
So, I mean, I can't help but notice that it seems like you're frustrated that your teacher hasn't graded and given you the feedback that you need with your assignments that you're looking for. How is that frustrating to you? Like, I understand that you say you're not doing too well in those classes, but how has that frustration?
Because it's more so frustrating with anticipation because I want to know, so it's like, goodness, would you just grade this paper so I can know, where I stand in this class? I want to know if, I only have a few weeks left of this class. I need to know if I'm passing or failing this class.
So has that frustration made you stressed out, or is it just the other classes that made you stressed out as well? Like, is this?
No, it's just this class, to be honest with you. I mean, my other classes, I'm good to go. Like, there's some stress with my other classes, that comes into play. But this week is like the most stressful week for me for these classes because this is my last week to complete the last essay for this English class period. And then I still have my other classes that come into play when I have to do those assignments on top of doing my last assignment for my English class. Right. So it's like, I really, really need to focus, but I have to do this, and I have to do this for my other classes. And it's like, okay, well, do I try to get this done for my sociology class so it's out the way so I can more so focus on my English class? Or do I want to just put that to the side, knowing that they're all doing the same day, and focus on my English stuff first? It's just like, what, like, is it, if this is quicker, do I do this first because I know my English paper is going to take longer? Or, do I focus on my English paper because it's more important? Because I'm borderline failing this class. So I'm just kind of like balancing out, trying to come up with methods,
So what has your, I guess, behaviors been? Like, how has this stress manifested in your life? So what, if you can measure, like, what happens, I guess, with you and when you're stressed out and thinking about this school, do you have, a lot of frustration? Do you, like, how do you deal with it?
Well, I know, I usually kind of keep stress, like, I'm usually kind of good at dealing with stress most of the time. But, I mean, I've noticed sometimes, like, when I'm doing my papers or completing my essays or just doing my homework and, I have my kids home with me, more so my son, he comes up and he's like, Mom, can I have something to drink? Mom, can I do this? Mom, can I? And it's just like, I find myself more so lashing out, like, just wait. Right. I'm doing this right now, and it's just, I really don't want to be like that with him because it's like, I know that he needs attention and he needs that time, but it's like, at the same time, it's like, this is very important, and I cannot fail this class, you know.
Yes, yeah.
So that is really, I really have to kind of work on that aspect of kind of dealing with that stress.
So the stress from the classes that the stuff that's due this week is really stressing you out on top of, having your kids and stuff, and then I guess your behavior patterns have been lashing out a little bit. Am I hearing that correctly?
Yes.
Okay, so what do you do to, I guess, combat that? Like, is there anything that you do to try to decrease your stress levels or to not lash out? Is there anything in specific that you do that works best for you?
I mean, I just kind of pause, take a moment, and just take a deep breath in and just try to just let it go. That's kind of what I do. I mean, there's times when I'm done with my homework and I just kind of, listen to gospel music. That helps. But in those moments of just dealing with that stress right then and there, I'm just kind of like take a deep breath and try to refocus on what I'm doing to just take my mind off of,
Right.
that stress.
So it sounds like you're kind of, it's an analogy. You are on a busy highway, subway, like New York traffic, and you're like right here in this thick of the traffic, and that represents the stress levels and everything like that. But what you really want to do is be up here, basically floating in the clouds where there's, not a lot of
Right.
traffic, no stress, anything like that. So you're in the thick of the traffic, and you hear the cars honking
Yeah.
and the stress, and you have to listen to the radio, you have to roll your windows up, you have to hear the traffic outside, you have to, go and all of that stuff, and that's all chaotic down here, and that represents the stress. But up here is that level of peace in the clouds that you want to be at.
Right.
So how do you think that you can get there from where you are now? So one thing, I'm going to pick up a couple things and ask you a couple questions. Okay. So what is this?
So roll of paper towels
What is this used for?
to clean things.
Okay. What is this?
An apple,
What is this?
set of keys.
Okay, so what are you thinking about right now?
Whatever you just told me. The apple, the set of keys,
So,
paper towel.
so you were easily distracted from our conversation because three simple things that I showed you.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of, I guess, a method in dealing with stress in a way. When you're stressed out and you just can't think straight or operate how you want to, or you just need a break, we can do simple things. It's just, looking around and using I guess, our senses, like our sense of sight, to pick out one, two, three things and just say, hey, that's a lamp, or hey, that's a chair, or hey, this, and that right there gets your mind off of stress, and then you can go to, I guess, you use your visual. Now you can use, I guess, your hearing. Like, what do I hear? Do I hear birds chirping? Do I hear, someone cutting grass? Or do I hear
Right.
honking?
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. When you're in the thick of the stress and you don't know if you're going to lash out, things like that could possibly help. So have you indulged in that kind of thing?
I've never really thought about that. I mean, I heard about that, take your mind off and think positive. But, that
Right.
this, analogy that you just showed me, I mean, really kind of brought it to life. And, I kind of seen more deeply into that analogy. So, yeah, I have never done that.
Okay.
Yeah, never done it.
So I'm going to kind of like recap this and ask you another question. So, as of now, this week, you have a lot of things to do. You're stressed out because you have to turn some stuff in, more particularly about the English class and any other classes what's stressing you out. But
Mm-hmm.
all of it is collectively stressing you out, and then your children and taking care of your home and stuff like that, and that's playing a major role as well. So the problem is the stress, and with stress comes lashing out, or you not feeling like yourself, and you wanting to be at that peaceful level, since this is the last end of your class is coming to an end. So, what do you think you can do to change this, I guess, this issue of stress and lashing out? What specific steps do you think that you can take to not be as stressed out? And you may not know any, or you may know some.
I mean, well, I definitely don't know all of the, the steps that I can
Well,
take
just take
to.
a couple steps, like in particular for the English class. What steps can you take to not stress yourself out as much about what you have to turn in, or about the fact that your professor in your class haven't graded you or given you the feedback, so you don't know where you stand?
I mean, well, with the feedback part, I can just kind of, redirect my thinking and just say, I mean, it's gonna be all right. He's gonna grade it. Just kind of talk to myself and mentally and just kind of
Right,
ease
yeah.
my mind just to,
Right,
tell myself it's going to be all right. I've done the work. I've just been reminding myself too, like I've done everything that he required of me in those two
right,
papers. So there's no reason he should fail me. So that's been relieving some
right.
stress.
So you, in a way, you accepted the things that you cannot change. You cannot change when your professor is going to grade your paper
Right.
and post it. So you accepted that, and you're having, I guess, a positive reconstruction of your mind to say, I'm not going to think on the negative, negative, negative. I'm just going to,
Right.
think on the positive things about this or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Okay, well, that's good. So, what have you, I guess, done for the other stresses that's not related to the English class?
Um, well, I mean, like I told you earlier, as far as like, with my son just kind of like lashing out, just kind of just taking that deep breath in that moment, just kind of redirecting my mind back to what I'm focusing on to take my mind off of that
Right,
stress in that moment so I'm not getting overly kind of,
right.
or I'm not overly lashing out, or,
So,
doing
how do you
anything
feel
like
when
that.
you, like, after you lash out on your son and you realize what just happened? How do you feel?
I mean, I feel kind of like, oh, man, I shouldn't have done that. Like, all he wanted was a drink, and I'm like, you need to wait, did I have to yell that loud? Did I have to, lash out on him? And then, sometimes I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, I
Right,
didn't mean to talk. Mommy didn't mean to talk to you that way. I'm sorry. And
right,
I give, reconcile with him and give him a kiss and a hug, but, I'm not, we're not perfect. And I definitely want to work on that, but I also want to, not get myself to that point where I have to lash out.
right. So, with the stress, have you had any, I guess, symptoms of, I guess, not sleeping a lot, or not having an appetite to eat, or I guess like isolating yourself to, I guess, just your books or something like that? Has this stress affected you on like them levels?
No, it has not.
Okay. So now, I mean, you really got to deal with the stress part about it in order to make the change. So, what do you think that you need to do to keep your stress levels down so you can function regularly without stress?
Hmm. Well, I just need to just redirect my thoughts. When I'm thinking and I'm stressed out, I mean, it's more so, I guess, with me just pep talk, self talk. Like, it's gonna be all right. You know,
Well, what
we're gonna get
about
through this.
breaking down your classes too, like by specific, times and days, and not trying to do everything all at once? Because when you try to do everything at once, then all of it just kind of builds up in mountains, and it makes it seem like it's this big mountain that you have to
Right.
climb. But if you chop it down and break it down in sections and
Right.
make it more feasible for you,
Yeah.
will that help you?
It will. I feel like too, like, sometimes I do try to do that, and some things I just can't get done in that day. Some things,
And that's fine.
some homework takes me, a long time, and or just things happen, to where I'm just like, man, I wanted to do this today and I couldn't get to it. But at the end of the day, I will try my best to, continue to try to break those things down and do it, before the week is over, so I can have, like you said, that weekend to spend time with family. But I mean, if it comes to me pushing through the weekend to get stuff done, so I can actually, succeed on what I need to do, then I need to do that.
So pretty much, you said that, I guess, basically reconstructing your thinking, giving yourself positive pep talks, and letting, basically encouraging yourself that you can do this, and don't let, I guess, the stress get the best of you. That's the best way. That's how you reduce your stress levels. So dealing with that in that kind of way reduces your stress levels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I think that sounds pretty good, and it sounds like a great idea that you start thinking about that stuff, and then it start manifesting into, I guess, your desired behaviors. So you think you can, you can, and then you can't. Versus, this is stressing me out, I can't do it, and I'm lashing out, and I have behaviors. But what you're saying is that in your mind, before you have those behaviors or when those thoughts, and that stress level get to you, you reconstruct your thinking and say, I can do this, so I'm not going to let it stress me out. And you distract yourself and think positively, and then it decreases your stress levels, and then you can go forward.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Yeah, I'll take that.
All right, well, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.